Records in general, like it's growing so much. I mean, my teenage kids have records, and like I would have never thought, and you're probably in the same boat, I would have never thought that here in 2026 we'd be going, oh man, records is a booming thing. And
yeah, it's crazy. It's blown up in the past 10 years. It's just gotten insane. But I think people as a society are tired of having stuff taken away from them.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to the Trailmark Media Business Podcast. I'm Matt, and I'm here with the owner of Siples Records,
Brett Siples.
So just to kind of give a little bit about what we're doing and what I'm doing with this is I'm going to start talking to some local businesses, just kind of about, you know, where they started, where they're at now, how everything came to fruition. And I've known Brett for 30 years.
Yeah,
probably 30 years.
At least, probably.
Yeah. And I was like,
spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, and Brett's a client of mine, so I was like, all right, no better place to start than right here. This was the place that I did the first video I ever did for my business. Started the business and all that. So the floor is yours. I'll probably ask you questions while we're doing
That's
this.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, music has been my whole life. Literally from the time that I was, you know, able to watch TV, I was watching Kiss and you know, playing air guitar and doing all that stuff. Have played in bands, you know, since I got my first kit when I was 13.
Were in a band together for 10 years?
We were, yeah. It was yeah. Well, it was really like 6 years, I think.
Yeah, it stretched longer than that.
It felt like longer, yeah. But yeah. Matt played bass in Decimating Tomorrow with me. And we made some amazing music. So we've known each other a lot and had some crazy times.
Yep.
But yeah, so music has just been my whole life. And I've always wanted to just be around it in any capacity. When I first started collecting vinyl, it was because, you know, that was the music that I liked was originally on vinyl. So for me, that was like the ultimate piece of memorabilia that I could get would be an original, you know, Kiss Rock and Roll Over or whatever. Fast forward a few years later, I really started hitting record stores pretty hard anytime I would go to another city. And I always thought in the back of my mind, that would be really cool to have a record store. I mean, you're surrounded by records, you get to talk to people about music all day. And I had done that a little bit on the other side with instruments working at Guitar Center, but, you know, records are a little bit different. And then I moved back here to Terre Haute, started really hitting collecting hard, finding different variants, learning about different pressings, trying to upgrade my collection all the time. And then I started selling online to compensate for the upgrade.
Was that eBay or?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of eBay stuff. You know, I would buy a record and say, oh, well, this one's different. I need to get this other pressing, and I'd find it on eBay. And I'm like, oh, this one, I have this, but mine is not as good as the one that I just got. So then I would sell it, and then it kind of snowballed. You know, then you kind of start learning about different records, and it's like you see something out in the wild, and you're like, oh, well, that's worth double what they're asking for it. I'll just grab that real quick and then I'll turn around and sell it. So that kind of snowballed. And then I was still working another job, but selling online a lot. And then when COVID hit, I was selling constantly. And I ended up, you know, getting to the point where I was making more money selling records than I was actually working for someone else. So I was actually just thinking about this. I'm pretty sure I quit my job. And then a year later, I'm pretty sure, I'd have to look, but pretty sure to the day, I closed on this building. And so it took about a year to get the building where I wanted it to be.
Yeah, because it was not when you got it.
No, I mean, it was just like a garage, basically.
Yeah.
You know, there was no drywall on the walls. The flooring wasn't in here. What was in here actually turned into the bins. There was a garage door in the back, you know, just water would fly in here. So, yeah, it took a lot of work, complete redo on the inside. And then I was buying, you know, stuff for literally an entire year to get geared up for the store. And it's funny looking back on those pictures now of when the store opened, there's like nothing in here. And now it's like full But yeah, and it just kind of has taken off from there, and it just keeps growing and growing. So
Yeah, and it seems like we were literally just talking about this just a minute ago, but like records in general, like it's growing so much. I mean, my teenage kids have records, and like I would have never thought, and you're probably in the same boat, I would have never thought that here in 2026 we'd be going, oh man, kids are buying records, and adults and like all that. Like everybody's getting records to listen to records again in a digital world where everything is right on your phone all the time.
Yeah, and looking back to middle school when I was the weird kid wearing Kiss t-shirts.
He was a weird kid wearing Kiss t-shirts and had records.
Yeah, Motley Crue and records. I was listening to Shout at the Devil on cassette on the bus. That was weird. I wasn't listening to what was popular.
Yeah.
And now all of those people that thought that was weird are probably wearing a Nirvana t-shirt and have a turntable now. So yeah, it's crazy. It's blown up in the past 10 years. It's just gotten insane. But I think people as a society are tired of having stuff taken away from them.
Yeah.
When you own this, like no one, no entity, no record company can take that from you. You have that with you forever.
Yeah. And I've noticed a lot of the music that I listen to, it might not be on Spotify, or it might not be on Apple Music or any of that kind of stuff. Like you can't even listen to it. So you might have to get a CD or a tape or vinyl or whatever to listen to it.
There are all kinds of instances like that. There's some Quiet Riot stuff that's only available on cassette or CD that's not out there. And it's true with all kinds of bands. And if the artist doesn't want to have their stuff on there, it took AC/DC forever to put their stuff on iTunes. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure Neil Young just pulled a bunch of stuff off of Spotify not too long
and that's something that I have noticed which, like Brett said earlier, we've been like really good friends for almost 30 years. And like I've been huge into music as well. And like I've noticed like stuff that I've followed on Spotify like, 10 years ago or whatever, you go back to listen to it and it's not there anymore because the band or the label or whoever pulled it off of there. But if you have the physical copy of it, you can listen to it whenever you want. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always going to be there. And back to what you were saying about, the younger generation. I got asked the other day what my clientele was like. And I'm like, it's literally like, grade school kids on up to people in their 80s. It's like the people getting into it first, for the first time. And then it's the people that have been out of it for a long time that remember the good old days of records and they're getting back into it.
Yeah, and you have like so much of the good old day stuff in here that I feel like you're never going to sell to the middle school or high school kid, but you're still selling it all the time. Like there's a whole jazz section over here that we've talked about before. Like people will come in here looking for this jazz record. Like you don't think about that. Like who's looking for that? But there's somebody out there for everything, I feel like.
Absolutely. It always amazes me. The stuff that I think will never sell, someone comes in and it made their day that I had it. So that's why I try to carry everything for the most part that's, if it's clean and it comes in here, I'm happy to stock it. You just never know. And I want to cater to everybody. As much as I would love to just sell Kiss, Metallica, and Rush, I'm only going to sell to a certain amount of people. So, we have Taylor Swift, we have John Coltrane, we have Conway Twitty, and we have Boston, and we have everything. So,
to kind of go off of some stuff that me and him have talked about since we've been working together, whenever it comes to, yes, you do buy records from people.
Absolutely.
And, is that something that Is that something that frequently happens all the time, or does it come in spurts, or how does that work?
It's pretty frequent. If there's a day that I'm not buying something from someone, it's kind of rare.
Day.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of a relief at times because it gets overwhelming. But, there are times like right now, I have 3 giant collections that I'm working through simultaneously. And I'm happy to do that, buying records, tapes, CDs, stereo equipment, any of that stuff. But I see it from everybody. You know, it's like someone passed away and they're getting rid of their stuff, which is terrible, but I'm happy to help with that because it can be a burden for people who don't care. And then, you know, people, like I've had, I don't know, mid-teenage girls like get out of certain things. You know, they sell their Taylor Swift and they get, you know, something else instead. They just kind of fall in and out of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's all over the place.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I mean, and you've kind of already said it a little bit, but I mean, you're not just records here. You're not just selling vinyl. I mean, there's 8 tracks and tapes and CDs and all that stuff. So like, can you kind of talk about why you do that as far as, you know, buying the 8 tracks and all that stuff too, and why you still think that's important as well?
Yeah. So my whole goal with this originally was to, you know, mainly focus on vinyl, but just do all media formats. So, you know, when I first opened, I just had 1 bin of CDs, and then they started, like, it was like the first weekend, the CD bin was like a quarter of the way full after it was like completely full. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I really need to start, you know, getting more CDs in. So I'm just trying to cater to everybody. Cassettes have made a comeback as well, you know, mainly for nostalgia, I think. But new artists are releasing stuff on cassette now too. I still have people buying 8 tracks and 45s, not as much as CDs or vinyl, but there are people out there that still want that stuff. And there's collectors. And that's, I think, probably why I do it the most, is because I collect all formats. I don't have just one. And I think there are a lot of people out there that do it that way.
Well, and I think there's still people that, you know, I remember Dad always having an 8-track player in the garage.
Yeah.
And we listened to Foreigner out in the garage all the time. Like, and it's still out there and it still works. And I'll go over there sometimes and he'll still be playing an 8-track with Foreigner on it out in the garage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's still people out there that listen to all that stuff. And I think, like what you said, like a nostalgia thing. Like we were talking earlier about, you know, older cars still have CD players in them. Well,
sure.
Why not buy a CD to play in your CD player in your car?
Absolutely. So. I have, you know, teenagers that are Hicks that have, you know, OBS Chevy trucks that have cassette players in them.
Yeah.
And they're in here buying country tapes.
Yeah.
And also, you know, it's history for me. You know, like, it's fun to go back and look at how things were done before. And how much of a pain it can be to play an 8-track and then have it, you know, do a big kerchunk in the middle of a song, or you pull it out and the tape is like
it's just
pulling out with
everywhere.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'm going to kind of segue a little bit now. Like, part of what I'm wanting to do with this podcast is kind of take, you know, whoever I'm interviewing's business side of things and talk about what I do. And like I said earlier, Brett is a client of mine, and, you know, we've been talking about all this history and nostalgia and everything else. And what I do is kind of more of a futuristic thing. You know, we've gotten into the world of social media, and he was like, yep, let's do it. Let's jump in. Let's start doing it. And he's done something that I preach a lot with everybody is, yeah, I'm a professional at it and I come in and do all the video and the editing and all that kind of stuff. But like, I push everybody, hey, keep doing what you were doing before. And as far as that goes, how would you say that, you know, being on social media, what has it done for your business?
Well, honestly, social media is huge. Whether you like it or you don't, it's part of this world that we're in right now. And for me, it gets people in the store. That's the biggest part for me. You know, I'll do video flip throughs of new arrivals for records, and the comments just start adding up of people saying, I want this, I want that, I want this. That gets people in here because they know what I have. And then, you know, like the buy-in video thing.
Yeah.
I literally had a young girl come in here and she said, I had no idea you bought records. I literally just asked my friend about it, and I was scrolling through TikTok and saw your video that said you buy records. And then she came in, sold me some records. So that stuff works.
Yeah.
It's huge to get people in the store, let people know what I have and what I do and how I do it. Because you can look up stuff on the internet. I've looked up record stores before. You drive to wherever and you find it and there's literally nothing there. Like you're in a neighborhood or something.
Yeah. Whereas like what we've tried to do and showcase is, we show the store in the videos and we talk about that kind of stuff, and being able to see what works for your clientele, what doesn't work, that kind of stuff of doing videos, pictures, any of that kind of stuff. I've got to see in the last 2 months with working with Brett on this kind of stuff, as far as, hey, we're doing this pick of the week video this week. It got us this much traction. Like, is that something that you were having happen before on videos, or?
No. And so, before my Instagram, I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, people don't really want to see flip through videos on Instagram, but they blow up on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, I would post pictures of the store and those would get a lot of traction. So people want to see the store and what's going on, and they want to hear me talk.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
No, and that's something that, like, I will say, and I say this to everybody, is your customers and all that, they want to know who you are before they come in. And that goes for any business. I feel like I'm sure that you've had people come in and be like, hey, I saw that video that you did. They already know you whenever they come in.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
And that's a huge deal. I mean, that's not a cold lead by any means. Like, they already know who you are. They know about the store. Even if they've never been in here before, if they've watched 80 of your videos, they know that you love Kiss and and all that kind of stuff already.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just, to me, that is the best way to promote yourself, really. I mean, we've talked about this in the past of doing commercials and radio ads and all that kind of stuff, and which you've done some in the past, right?
I have done some radio stuff, and it does get people to find out about the store.
Yeah.
I've had a few people say, like, oh, hey, I heard your commercial. I had no idea you were here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not been as impactful as TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all of that.
To me, it's more of a, and you probably feel the same way, it's more of a personal feel that way. Like,
it is. They can see me, they can see the store, they can see that it's real, that I'm a real person.
Yeah.
And I don't always speak the best.
It happens.
But I was just at the Kiss Expo in Indy this weekend, and so many people from out of state were like, "Oh, hey man, I've been watching your videos on online. Like, how's the store doing?" Like, people that have never been here, that will probably never be here. We're asking about the store and how much they like the videos. And people wanting to help promote, like, I'm supposed to ship a guy a t-shirt he's going to buy, and
but stuff like that is huge for if you're not wanting to stay the tiny little business here in Terre Haute, it's not tiny, the little business here in Terre Haute, if you're wanting to expand, if you're wanting to grow at all, that is the best way to do it. I mean, how many, you just said, people that you've never even met before have
Absolutely.
said, hey, how's the store going? To me, as a business owner, that is like, that's gold.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting out there farther than your own local reach. And if you're in a business that more than local reach is going to do you good, I mean, that's an awesome experience to get to do that and ship somebody something or whatever. And
well, yeah, it can turn into money.
Yeah.
We've had videos that we've done on TikTok, and people are like, "Oh, hey, I see that record behind you. I need that," and I've shipped it to them.
Yeah.
I have people ask all the time if I ship stuff, and I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah.
It's okay if you want to just be small and just do your thing and not promote, and, like, when people find you, they know about you and whatever. But that's not my mentality.
Well, and, like, goes back to, and we've had this conversation before already, word of mouth now is not the same as what word of mouth was back in the 90s or before that or whatever. I mean, word of mouth now is in a nutshell, social media. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody gets to see that stuff all the time. I mean, that phone that you're holding, probably watching this right now, is where everybody's at all the time. They see the stuff on there. And if you get one thing that blows up, like we've already noticed a couple times with some of his stuff, there's thousands of people out there that see it that probably never would have seen it before if you didn't do something of that nature.
I would say that the majority of my followers on TikTok and Instagram have probably never been here.
Yeah.
You know, but they still engage and they think, you know, stuff is cool.
Yeah, which at the end of the day, you know, they might still get something from you.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
you know, you might ship something. Like, I remember the first week I came here and did some stuff with Brett. He was talking, I did stuff with the counter, and he's got a bunch of records behind the counter and everything that are sitting up on the wall. And like 2 weeks later, he was like, "Hey man, some guy on TikTok saw that album on that video that we did, and he bought it." And I was like, "That's awesome." And then like we just the speakers.
Yeah, we did an
day.
Edifier video, and Edifier reached out to me. You know, this big speaker company. They reached out to me, and we did a collaborative post. And somebody got to win a set of speakers for free.
Yeah.
And that was all from doing the video stuff.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. Like, that might have not ever happened. Like, did you really get anything out of that? Like,
other than followers
and exposure,
but like it was free, you know, for me, and it was just because we did a video showcasing that stuff.
Yeah, which when he messaged me and said that, I was like, man, that's awesome. Like, you don't think about things like that, but stuff like that happens all the time. And if you're not putting yourself out there, it's not ever gonna happen.
100%, and that's the big thing is, you know, if you're just like, if I was to send a message to Edifier and be like, "Hey, do you want to give away a set of your speakers for free?" and I had no social media presence, they're gonna laugh at me.
Yeah.
Why would they want to do that? But now that they see that I have a store and I have followers and I'm promoting their product and selling it, they were happy to do that. Mm-hmm. And that was all their idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and he didn't even have to do anything. One question that I do want to ask you as far as a business owner, and we've talked about it a little bit, but like, how important do you think as a, you know, brick and mortar store or a business owner, how important do you think it is to do what you just said a little bit ago and put yourself out there on social media and not be scared and don't think it's cringe and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's huge. And I know, like, unless you're one of those people that just love to hear themselves talk, it can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
You know, I know our first couple of videos, I was, you know, a little nervous. But most of the time people don't care.
Yeah, and people don't even know that you're scared or whatever. And then after a while, you get used to it.
Yeah, it becomes easier.
Yeah, like today we were doing stupid funny videos.
Yeah,
like, you know,
and it's going to be great. You guys are going to love it.
And stuff like that comes with time and becomes easier. And like I've saw it with other clients too. Like I've saw it with you. Like it's after the repetitiveness of, you know, it's not just me sticking a camera in your face and you're going to be in Hollywood. It's you talking about what you're passionate about and stuff like that. And,
right. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be an Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's something that, you know, we have already talked about before, and I've stressed to you before. Like, it's not, you know, putting stuff on social media. Like, yes, I want it to look good for you because it's your business and your name, and at the end of the day, it's me and my business on what you're doing. And you know, I always make sure that it looks as good as it can and do all that kind of stuff, but it does, like you said, it doesn't have to be a Hollywood production
right
for it to get, I mean, how many videos have we done that have gotten over 10,000 views that you would have never thought?
Yeah, would have never ever thought. It's always the stuff that I don't think is going to take off, like just blows up.
And that's why I get big on like, just put your Nikes on and just do it. Like,
that's right.
You know, something that you think is great, that we think is great, might not do anything. And then the other video that you think is dumb, that's the one that blows up and, you know, you get a bigger following out of, or more people show up at your store because they saw you and didn't know anything about you. So
yeah, I mean, that happens with music all the time. You know, there's all kinds of stories about songs that were never supposed to be on a record or that were added late. and they became huge.
Yeah.
For Whom the Bell Tolls was a last-minute thing that they had to add because they needed one more song.
Yeah. And what would have happened if that wouldn't have showed up on that record?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just putting yourself out there. People want to know who you are as a person. They want to know that they can trust you. And, you know, they want to see you. Like, as much as I would love to just show records, and I do that,
Yeah.
they still want to see me. They want to hear me talk about things, and hopefully most people trust what I say.
Yeah. Well, and that comes back to, you know, and I talk to people about stuff like this all the time, and this is what you do. This is what you're passionate about.
Right.
Like, people should take your word for things, because this is, I mean, how much time do you spend here every single week?
Yeah, I mean,
And how much time do you spend on going through records and researching stuff? And like, Brett is a stinking dictionary of music. Like, I've known him my whole life. I've always been that way too, but I know nothing like what he does when it comes to, you know, when this Creatures of the Night album came out, and
82.
where they recorded it at, who all was on the recording, who did the mixing, all that. Like, he knows all that stuff.
Michael
Like,
James Jackson produced that.
Yeah, see, I don't even have to ask. He already knows. Like, so that's where, like, talking about your expertise and putting that out to the world, it just does, you know, it does a couple of things. It builds awareness, you know, and then at the end of the day, after you build awareness, you're going to build trust with your customers and all that kind of stuff too. And that's something that I'm huge on, is building awareness and trust with your customers, because if they don't trust you, then
Absolutely.
it doesn't get you anywhere.
I think that one of the big things that helps me in the store is that people know that I actually care about the store and what I put in the store to sell.
Yeah.
It is easy to buy records and put whatever price you want on them. It's not easy to get good, clean records and know what they're worth and charge the correct price for them.
Yeah.
And if you only stock what you like and you don't care about the rest,
You're really limiting yourself.
Yeah, and if you just stock junk, people are going to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I think that people trust me to get good stuff in here. And yeah, they don't see the behind the scenes stuff of me, taking 2 crates of records home and working on them on a Sunday when I'm watching a baseball game or something, or the Mondays that we're here shooting videos and, I'm cleaning up stuff in the back in between, or, whatever. So this is my life. And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
and that's like just one more question that I wanted to ask you as far as the social media side of it goes. Like, do you feel like you have a better relationship with your clients because of what you do on social media?
Absolutely. Yep. Because, if they just came in here and bought a record, I always say hi to everybody, but like, I don't have a 30-minute conversation with everybody. Most of the time it's too busy to do that anyway. But again, I feel like people get to know me a little bit better through social media, through these videos of me talking. And, like you said, when they walk in, it's like they already know me because they've seen videos and they've heard me speak.
Yeah.
They know what I'm into. They kind of know the vibe.
And that's the questions that they don't have to ask you because they already know.
Right.
That's why I wanted to ask you that question is, if you feel like you know your customers better because of that, because the conversation's already been started.
Yeah. There's a great YouTube podcast that I watch. This guy owns a stereo store out in Iowa, and I've watched every one of his videos, and I guarantee if I went there to Iowa and met him, like, we could talk like you and me are talking now.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to him, like, I know what he's into. I know what he likes. I know what he doesn't like.
Yeah.
And that's all because of social media. I would have never heard about his store in Iowa. I've been to Iowa one time in my entire life.
Yeah, there's nothing but corn there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a stereo store.
Yeah. But all right, well, Brett, thank you for being contestant number 1.
I appreciate it. Nice shirt.
Yeah, you got to represent.
That's right.
But so there will be many more of these coming, I'm sure. And I just want to showcase where I started and showcase where Brett started. So,
I appreciate it,
yeah,
sir.
hey, no problem. We'll see you next time.